This is our final product for Biblical Worldview, where I went to Gila Mall to interview 7 people and determine their worldviews. Let's get started.
Okay, first question is, what do you think is the number one problem the world faces today?
I would say violence.
Violence?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think people know right from wrong?
I mean, it just depends on like how they grew up. Some people know, they feel like they were taught this way, so they feel like it's not wrong. But it just all depends on their lifestyle and how they were raised.
Do you think there are any actions that are always wrong no matter what, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstances?
I feel like it just depends on like what the situation is.
Okay. What's your view on same-sex marriage?
I feel like people should do like whatever they feel like. If they feel like they want to marry the same sex, then hey, that's them. But I don't have like an issue with it.
What's your view on abortion?
I feel like people shouldn't get abortions because that just causes a lot of trauma, and then they have to live with that for like the rest of their lives. So
Do you believe in the existence of God or the supernatural?
yeah, I believe God. I believe in God a lot. Yeah.
How would you describe God?
I would say he's like our savior. Like he created all of this, and he's I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, that's fine. What do you think happens when you die?
I feel like you go through a phase to whether you I don't know how to explain it. He asking all these
It's
questions.
fine. I'll just ask it again. I can rephrase it for you. How about this? What do you think the afterlife is like?
Wow. It just depends, like, on whether you go to, like, heaven or hell. Like, it could be all good, but depending on the choices you made, you could probably go to hell and just, I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like my purpose on earth right now is to... that's a good question. I feel like my purpose is to, like, take care of other people and try to, like, make the world better. Because, like, right now, like, if you look at it, our generation has so many issues and so many problems going on. Like, I feel like I could be, like, a part of the change that we need.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much.
So the first person we interviewed was Kalia, and she showed most of all relativism, because when we asked if there were actions that were always right and wrong no matter what, she said that it was always a matter of circumstances. And then for her view on same-sex marriage, she said that she's okay with whatever anyone feels like doing. And then she's mainly worm deism because she believes in the existence of a personal God and kind of a health and wealth type of religion, because she thinks that mainly that God wants us all to be nice to each other and to be happy and healthy. And then she thinks that heaven or hell depends completely on your choices.
Lack of spirituality.
Okay. How do you think people know right from wrong?
I think everybody has a truth. It's a perspective. I don't know. How do you think people know right from wrong?
I'm asking you the questions.
I feel like we do have a moral compass, but like it's difficult to pin because of everybody's like experiences and upbringings and stuff like that. But I like to think like we have a moral compass in us somehow. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Do you think there are any actions that are always wrong no matter what, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstances?
I definitely feel like right or wrong is a matter of circumstances if it involves only you. Once you're like, hurting other people, involving other people, violating others' space and boundaries, I feel like that's when you can draw a line. But if it's just you right or wrong is always, going to be subjective. It's not always going to be like the same for everybody.
Okay. Good. What is your view on same-sex marriage?
I feel like everybody who wants to get married should get married. What is my, authority to stop them? That's how I feel.
Okay. What is your view on abortion?
I'm pro-choice. I feel like women should have the choice. And I think it's important for women to be educated and have contraceptives and know their options. So,
Okay. Do you believe in the existence of God or the supernatural?
yes, I do. To say
If you believe in God, how would you describe God? Or if you believe in like a supernatural, how would you describe that?
I would describe it as what you feel but you can't see. I feel like we all know something is there, but we can't put our finger on it. We can't feel it. We can't touch it. So I feel like it's just kind of that inexplicable kind of rush, I feel like. And I think it's every day in our lives. It's every day inside of us. And, the earth, everything is connected. And I feel like it's it's a personal thing to everybody. So it might feel different to everybody.
Okay, that's good. What do you think happens when you die?
These are some hard questions.
Okay. I could rephrase it. What do you think the afterlife is like? Or is there an afterlife?
I feel like we are I feel like our consciousness, like our ability to make decisions of right from wrong, have a lot to do with us being alive, with us being able to like make those choices. I feel like the afterlife is kind of a place of peace where you don't have to make like, a lot of moral choices because you're just kind of you're just one. So
What do you think is your purpose?
I actually love these questions. Why do I feel like I'm here on Earth? I feel like we don't realize that every day is our purpose. Like being here, that is my purpose.
So when we interviewed Claudia, the very first question she answered to be the number one problem of the world was lack of spirituality. So we knew that there were some underlying thoughts that she had in her worldview. When we went a little deeper, asking about morality, she said it's all based on circumstances. She even specifically said that truth is subjective, so that's a lot of relativism right off the bat. Claudia also showed a lot of New Age thinking, a lot of EPM in her responses. She was saying how there is a supernatural out there, we can't feel it, or we can feel it, it's something that we can't see. She said it's in everything and it's different for everybody how you feel it. She also said that being on Earth is our purpose, so there's a bit of humanism in there, how we kind of make our own purpose for ourselves. And when asked about the afterlife, she said it was a place of peace and you're completely one with everything, which again is that New Age thinking. So that was Claudia.
Racism.
How do you think people know right from wrong?
Their upbringing and just basically, when your parents share with you, the things that you should be doing and what you should not be doing.
Yeah.
And it can let you know, if certain things are, right and if certain things are wrong. So.
Okay. All right. Do you think that there are any actions that are always wrong no matter what, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstance?
The first one, right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just always, yeah. So, yeah.
What is your view on same-sex marriage?
I'm fine with it. The world that we're living in now that's what we're faced with. But regardless of what, is still an idea of what what's biblically right and what's biblically wrong. But, this is the world we're living in now. So,
All right. And what is your view on abortion?
I'm for it. Yep.
Do you believe in the existence of God or the supernatural?
Existence of God?
Yeah, or the supernatural?
No, I believe in God.
You believe in God?
Yes.
Okay. How would you describe God?
A spiritual being, just a spirit.
What do you think happens when you die?
Go to heaven or hell.
And last question, why do you think that you're here on earth, or what is your purpose?
I'm still trying to find that out.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm pretty much a motivator, so I just want to make sure that people are, go back to your question, doing right from wrong, being able to share the goodness of why we're here.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, thank you.
So the fifth lady that we interviewed, we saw a lot of postmodernism and relativism in her, mostly because she said that morals were just a matter of upbringing, and that morality was just a matter of circumstances. And we also said that she was a deist because she believes that there is a God, but that he's just more of a spiritual being. And she also just believed in heaven and hell, and she's still finding out like what her true purpose is. So that's why we are defining her as a postmodern or a relativist deist.
What do you think the number one problem is the world faces today?
It's a good question. The entire world?
I'd say overpopulation, maybe.
That's a good answer.
Okay. How do you think people know right from wrong?
I think it's nature versus nurture. How
Based
people
on
were raised.
How you're raised, who you surround yourself with, what you kind of believe in.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that there are any actions that are always wrong no matter what, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstance?
I think circumstance, for
I
sure.
think circumstance, yeah.
And what is your view on same-sex marriage?
All for it.
Yeah. No problem with it.
Okay, and what is your view on abortion?
I'm pro-choice.
I'm pro-choice.
Yeah.
Do y'all believe in the existence of God or the supernatural?
Yep.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, so.
Same.
Okay. Yeah. So how would you describe God?
I think God provides a community and a place for people to come together and kind of just be in an affiliation together, and it's kind of a guidance and guides you through life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think happens when you die?
I'm not a huge believer in hell, so I think there's something out there, but not really sure what.
Yeah.
Same. I don't really think about that much. But
Okay, and last question, why do you think you're here on Earth, or what do you think your purpose is?
Ooh, that's a deep one.
I think I'm here on Earth because my parents decided to have a kid.
Yeah.
And my purpose is just to kind of live life every day and take it day by day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank y'all.
Yeah.
Of course.
So we figured that these girls are probably warm deism. They believe that God's out there and they grew up in a Catholic church, yet their faith didn't really seem like that they really necessarily reflected that. They kind of just showed up and went. They were both pro-choice and, for same-sex marriage, and they mentioned something about nature versus nurture, so just kind of how you were raised, honestly. I think that kind of just carried over, with like them associating with the church. As far as their purpose goes, they said that they don't really have, a purpose other than to just be on earth. They kind of just said that their parents, they're here because their parents decided to have a child, so, yeah.
All right, what do you think the number one problem is that the world faces today?
I would say it would be racism, would be a lot. It would be number one for me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think a lot of people feel entitled, so there goes like the lack of respect.
Yeah.
So those two would be big to me.
Okay. How do you think people know right from wrong?
I think it depends where they grow up. So it has to do with their environment.
Yeah.
Like who raised them, so that kind of deal.
Okay. Do you think that there are any actions that are always wrong no matter what, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstance?
The right and wrong would be, it depends on the circumstances. Yeah.
Okay. What is your view on same-sex marriage?
I think you should be who are we to tell you like who you can love?
Yeah.
So
Okay. And what is your view on abortion?
because I'm a mom, so
Yeah.
but I think it really does depend on the situation.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's your body, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay. Do you believe in the existence of God or supernatural?
both.
Okay.
Yes.
How would you describe God?
obviously I've never seen him, but like being a mom, my kid's like, well, how do you know God's real? You know, and I'm like, honestly, it's just, if you pray, it would make you feel so much safer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the faith that I've grown up in. So like, if you're happy, pray. If you're sad, pray. You know, God is there to always hear, you know, listen and guide you. I mean, that's just the way we've grown up, you know? So, but yeah, that'd be my answer.
And then how would you describe the supernatural?
The supernatural, I don't know. It's because like my mom's very into like aliens and stuff. So, and like honestly, like my grandma, she grew up in like the deep inside of Mexico. So she grew up like hearing the witches like from afar and stuff like that. My mom, she's like said she's had a couple encounters with aliens, so, or even like spirits, like all that good stuff, you know? So, I mean, they're there, but I've never seen them, but I believe them.
Okay. What do you think happens when you die?
I like to believe that our spirit is still here.
Okay.
You know, so like obviously you're not here on a physical plane, but in a spiritual plane, your spirit lives on forever, you know?
Yeah. Okay, and then last question, what do you think you're here on Earth for, or what's your purpose?
For my family. I'm such a family-oriented person. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, like when I think of myself, I think of my siblings, my son, my mom. They're on my purpose here on Earth.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
He said that this one was a warm deist because she said that God comforts you and cares for you. We didn't say that she was a true Christian because she had some stranger answers, mostly about what happens when we die, because she said that when we come back to Earth, we come back as a spirit. So that basically means she didn't really believe in a heaven or a hell. And that is why we categorize this woman as a warm deist.
All right. What is the number one problem the world faces today?
Corona.
Corona? Okay. Well, how do people know the difference between right and wrong?
Well, it depends. Some people do know what's right, and some of them really don't.
Okay. Do you think that there's a situation in which there's a definite right or wrong, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstance?
No, not really.
Okay.
Just how people carry themselves.
Okay.
That's how I put it.
Okay. What's your view on same-sex marriage?
You said what?
What's your view on same-sex marriage?
Same sex?
Yeah.
I don't got no problem with it. I stay to myself. I just be with my woman.
Okay.
That's how it is.
What is your view on abortion?
I don't really like abortions. I like to keep my child.
Okay. Do you believe in God or a supernatural?
I believe in God.
Okay. How would you describe God?
White, living up in heaven. He came back from the dead, so he built everything that's on earth. So
okay. Do you think that there's an afterlife?
I don't know.
All right, so this guy that we interviewed had some varied convictions. He started off by saying that right and wrong is a matter of circumstance, and that everybody kind of has their own sense of right and wrong. But then he went on to say that, same-sex marriage he doesn't agree with, abortion he doesn't agree with. But both of those were kind of what he felt convicted of. When we asked him about his belief in God, he believed there was one. His description was pretty interesting, to say the least. But he didn't really feel there was an afterlife. He didn't really have a set purpose in life of being on earth. So we decided to pin this guy as a warm, popular deist, maybe more cold than warm, just because his description of a supernatural was less personal for him. He definitely had a few postmodern ideas in there, but as far as his own beliefs, he was pretty conservative. So that's what we had thought about this guy. What's the number one problem the world faces today?
Maybe poverty.
Poverty? Okay. How do people know the difference between right and wrong?
I believe that it's what society tells people that's right, what they believe it's right. They don't have their own beliefs.
Okay. Is there a certain situation in which there's a definite right and wrong, or is right and wrong always a matter of circumstances?
I believe it's always a matter of circumstance.
Okay. What do you believe about same-sex marriage?
I think I'm okay with it.
What are your views on abortion?
I'm okay with it in some cases, like rape. When it's rape, I think that women should be able to abort.
Do you believe in the existence of God or the supernatural?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How would you describe God or a supernatural?
I have no description, but I believe it's something that we cannot comprehend.
Okay. Do you believe in an afterlife?
Yes, I do.
How would you describe that?
I have no idea, but I do believe in an afterlife.
Okay. Last question for you. What is our purpose on Earth? Why are we here? Or personally, what's your purpose?
I believe that your purpose is what you decide your life to be, like to create your own life.
Okay. What does that look like for you?
I think I'm still finding out.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So the young man that we interviewed was pretty postmodern. He had no indifference on same-sex marriage or abortion. He believed that right and wrong was all circumstantial. He didn't really have a good idea of God or an afterlife. Definitely wouldn't pin him as a believer in that sense. He didn't really have a true purpose in life. It's hard to pin this guy down, but I'm going to call him a pretty human secularist, maybe even a relativist, just because he didn't really have a lot of views, and he believed that everybody's belief should be up to them, and right and wrong morality is always going to change based on person to person.
To conclude, what we learned from this project is that most people are deists and are very postmodern and hold views of relativism. To be honest, we kind of expected this because we live in a very postmodern culture where morals are subjective. At first, we really didn't expect deism to be incredibly prominent, but then we came to the conclusion that people still want to find comfort in some sort of religion, but don't really want to commit to a full-on religion, like what we saw with most of the people that we interviewed. They want to stay in the comfortable middle ground where they can live their life how they want it, with religion being a second thought.